Let me gather my thoughts. Okay, I've gathered my thoughts.
Give me a minute to gather my thoughts. I gathered my thoughts.
Today we're going to look at the Jet Motors high torque, high RPM starter. We love these starters. We've been selling them for years now, and they are wonderful, very powerful. They spin twice the RPM of the old Lucas inertia starter, and they have twice the torque. One of the problems with the old Lucas inertia starter is this. This is the Bendix. It requires or relies on centrifugal force. And if you've ever had one of these starters in your Mini before, well, you know exactly when it kicks out and makes that horrible noise, that sound, and it has a hard time spinning high compression motors. This starter is a Hitachi design. It has an onboard solenoid, and one of the really important things about this starter is this third bearing support. That is critical because we used to have these old Nippon Denso starters that we were converting and modifying to fit our engines and our A-series motors. But the problem is when you mounted it into the flywheel housing, when you engaged the Bendix and it grabbed the flywheel, this thing was just twisting in the flywheel housing. It just looked like it was going to break, and it did break because a lot of times the contacts right here on the inside of the starter would fracture. So we would epoxy those in there and try and make them live, but they didn't like the vibration. They moved around a lot, so no more. Don't want those.
Cody, I said that's enough. Hey!
All right, so back to the new Jet Motor starter. These things are so easy to install because there really is nothing to do if you run this jump wire. Now, we can make this for you if you ask us to. We'll put one on your starter for you, or you can make it yourself depending on how you'd like to wire it. Because let's say you have your existing Lucas inertia starter. You have your starter cable coming right off of the solenoid, right? So you just disconnect that starter cable off of the back of the starter, install your new Jet Motor starter, take this nut off, and connect your solenoid or start wire, and basically that's it. Because we've we created this jump wire on the back of the starter, that's it. You turn the key and this thing's going to spin and fire the motor right up. Now, let's say you want to be really trick and just remove this starter solenoid altogether. You're basically going to take everything that's bolted on the back of the solenoid and move it to the back of the solenoid on the starter, which means you need to extend your 12-volt battery cable all the way up to this post. You're going to remove the jump wire, okay? And you're going to take all the brown wires coming off of these spade terminals right here, all right? So let's say you are deleting your starter solenoid. Well, you're going to extend this 12-volt battery directly from the battery, turn your battery off. Remember that. Turn your battery off before you start doing all this stuff. So go in the boot and turn your battery off. All right, you're going to run the 12-volt power source directly from the battery, directly to the back of the starter, okay? You're going to take all the brown wires off of the 12-volt battery source. The brown wires are 12-volt constant directly to the battery also. They're all going to go on the back of the starter, okay? So all your brown wires, your 12-volt battery, all goes to the back of the new starter, and then you take this little spade terminal, has a white and red stripe. That's your key start. That is when you engage the key, that sends the signal to the starter to start. So you're going to extend that wire all the way to this spade terminal on the back of the starter solenoid, so that when you turn the key, boom, away you go. All right. So if you do it that way, you can delete this, it's gone. Your wiring gets all tidy, and there's one less thing in the engine compartment to help clean it up. So let's go take a look at one of these starters installed on the car. So if you'll spin around with me, we'll go take a look.
I want your love.
I'm dizzy.
There you go.
I'm dizzy.
All right, come on, let's take a look at the starter here. All right, so here it is installed, and We've already deleted the starter solenoid off of this, okay? And we moved all the wires to the back of the starter. So you can see here we extended the little white with red stripe wire directly to the back of the starter spade terminal right here. Some of them have a eyelet for a screw, and some of them have a push-on spade connector, okay? You can see here this is the 12-volt battery cable coming all the way directly from the battery to the back of the starter post. Never ever to put anything on this post. You don't have to. This is just directly to the motor itself. So nothing ever goes on that post. So your 12-volt power supply goes all the way to the back of the starter. All of the brown wires, you see all these big fat brown wires? These are the 12-volt constant on battery wires. So we combined them all, extended them, and brought them all the way to this post. And then, of course, your white with red stripe. That's it. That's how easy it is. When you go to hit the key, you'll never hear a starter sound better. I hate to say it, but it sounds like a modern car, like even a Honda or something. It just zing. So I'm just going to spin the starter so you can hear what the starter sounds like. Here, I'll do it again. Ready? Now that is a good sounding starter. Anyway, you can go buy these at jetmotorsmini.com and pick yourself up a new high torque, high power starter right there.